Today's news highlights. Date January 24, 2025. News highlights: the total budget of the central government was cut by $207.6 billion, a record high of 6.6%. Chuk Wing-tai criticized the excessively large proportion of deletions, which affected the administration of the government and the operation of the 5 chambers, and the budgets of the Ministry of Economic Affairs, the Ministry of National Defense and other departments were greatly cut or frozen. The Kuomintang caucus accused the Executive Yuan of spreading rumors, causing misunderstanding among the public, and suing them for violating a social security law. The executive body intends to study and reconsider the case after it is sent by the legislature. News highlights: China's local refining companies are facing a serious crisis due to the economic slowdown, energy transition, and the impact of sanctions. The supply of low-priced crude oil was broken, refining profits plummeted, and many local refineries in Shandong went bankrupt or stopped production. The United States has imposed sanctions on Russian and Iranian crude oil, further compressing the living space. Experts predict that the large-scale collapse of local refining in the next decade will show the challenges of the structural transformation of China's refining and chemical industry. News highlights: the U.S. Senate and House of Representatives introduced a bill to cancel China's Permanent Normal Trade Relations, PNTR, marking a possible major change in U.S.-China economic relations. The Restoring Trade Fairness Act proposes to impose high tariffs on Chinese goods, gradually increase tariffs on strategic and non-strategic categories, and reshape trade policy with China. This reflects the unanimous position of the two parties on addressing China's trade challenges, and indicates that US-China trade may become more antagonistic in the future, which will have a far-reaching impact on the global trade landscape. News highlights: in 2025, 5 new shopping malls and department stores will open in Taiwan, including Lalaport in Taipei, Garden City in Far Eastern Arena, Dream Plaza in the Unification Era, as well as Shinkong Mitsukoshi Zio Bay Store and S-Light Life Tainan in Tainan. The new mall focuses on young people, through affordable luxury brands, specialty restaurants, cinemas, and public spaces, etc., to meet the needs of consumers aged 25 to 40 for fashion, experience, and social interaction. News highlights: former U.S. President Donald Trump took office to promote the abolition of the DEI, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, program and the ban on related policies, such as environmental justice and equity initiatives, that affect the federal government and the business community. DEI grew out of the civil rights movement to improve opportunities and inclusion for marginalized groups, but in recent years it has been opposed by conservative forces who say it is discriminatory or anti-American. Proponents argue that DEI is a central tool to address systemic injustice. Trump's move threatens to reshape American law and culture, causing widespread controversy and far-reaching implications. News highlights: NVIDIA is driving AI infrastructure and Agility Robotics is supporting Agility Robotics in the development of Digit, a humanoid robot focused on logistics applications that combine mobility and manipulation capabilities. Digit adapts to the human environment with a humanoid design to improve the efficiency of warehouse automation, and is close to the mass production deployment stage. Despite challenges such as battery life and energy efficiency, its potential is favored by giants such as Amazon. In the future, the robot army may liberate the labor force, but it will also raise concerns about the impact on employment, and it is necessary to find a balance between technology and society. News highlights: 14 domestic and foreign scholars jointly published the Taiwan Energy Policy Recommendations Report, advocating reasonable adjustment of electricity prices and reducing subsidies to solve Taipower's losses and improve the stability of energy supply, and suggested that through phased price adjustments and electricity consumption incentives, energy-saving behaviors should be guided to meet the energy needs of high-tech and small and medium-sized enterprises, and promote energy transition. News highlights: in 2024, the Taichung luxury housing market will be dominated by the 7th phase of the new civic center, with a number of transactions of 100 million yuan. The 17th floor of Treasure Seal Tianrui won the throne of luxury houses with 983,000 yuan per square meter, and surpassed last year's unit price record. Other top-ranked luxury properties such as Lianjie Ruiwo Building and Diamond Life Autumn Red Valley also prove the core position of Phase 7 location. New projects such as Treasure Seal Tianzan are about to appear, showing that there is still strong potential for asset appreciation in luxury homes in this area. News highlights: TSMC ADR closed at a new high of $223.20 on January 22, 2024, with a market capitalization of more than $1 trillion and the 9th largest market capitalization in the world. As the demand for AI continues to grow, TSMC expects strong growth in 2025 and expands advanced process capacity in many countries. Despite the impact of the off-season for mobile phones, TSMC expects this year's revenue to challenge $100 billion, and will continue to drive future revenue growth at a compound annual growth rate of nearly 20%. In addition, the Tainan Nang plant has resumed production after the earthquake, and the impact is controllable. News highlights: in response to the drastic reduction in the total budget, Zhou Rongta, the premier, decided to reapprove the subsidy cases for the previous year and freeze the local government subsidies by 50%, among which the projects that do not involve the welfare policy for the disadvantaged will be frozen first. According to the General Accounting Office, the Legislative Yuan cut its budget by 207.6 billion yuan, with a reduction rate of 6.6%, significantly exceeding the average reduction in the past 3 years. Chuk Wing-tai stressed that various subsidies will be consolidated and detailed data will be provided after the year, and veteran media person Zhou Yukao praised the move as a beautiful counterattack. News highlights: Liu Beijia, the 61-year-old host of Critical Moment, was accused of having a high annual salary and losing to Li Zhenggao's Xintai Pai Online, and resigned angrily. Although Liu Beijia did not respond to the message, Dongsun said that he plans to take a break for a while and will take a break from the screen after the year. Guest Huang Shikeng believes that Liu Beijia will not be unhappy with Li Zhenggao's performance, and stressed that Liu Beijia is a workaholic and needs to rest, but believes that he will return to the rivers and lakes soon. News highlights: Fubon Titan successfully signed the Korean cheerleader goddess Lee Ju-jun, which attracted the attention of Korean media. KBS analysis pointed out that South Korean cheerleaders are poorly treated and usually need to sign through an agency to play, but in Taiwan, cheerleaders can directly sign with the ball club, enjoy higher salaries and more development opportunities, and even become artists or endorsements. Park Ki-lyong, a South Korean cheerleader with 16 years of experience in the past, also revealed that the annual salary of South Korean cheerleaders is about 500,000 Taiwan dollars, and it is not uncommon for the income to exceed 1 million after coming to Taiwan. News highlights from the evening of the 26th. The cold snap will move south, and the temperature in Taiwan will drop significantly. From Chinese New Year's Eve, 27th, to the early morning of the first day of the new year, 29th, the impact of the cold snap was most obvious, and the temperature was extremely cold. Meteorological expert Lin Dean pointed out that from the evening of the 26th to the 27th, there were localized brief rains in the northern, eastern, and south-central mountainous areas, and there was a chance of snowfall in the Lala Mountains and Taiping Mountains in the north and northeast, so that people could enjoy the snow in Taiwan. The weather began to dry out on the 28th, and the temperature difference between day and night in the western half was large, and the temperature was still low in the morning and evening. News highlights Professor C, an authoritative professor in the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at National Taiwan University Hospital, was exposed to a sexual harassment scandal, and 6 female residents and research physicians accused him of being inappropriately touched, and the hospital has allowed her to resign and remove her teaching and physician positions. The incident has attracted widespread attention, and the victims come from extraordinary backgrounds, including the daughter-in-law of a political elder and the family of an entrepreneur. Chen Ziyuan, chairman of the Obstetrics and Gynecology Medical Association, issued a statement on the 23rd, saying that he would protest against the punishment of NTU and take administrative relief, indirectly admitting himself as the victim. He also denied that he had pressured the university and stressed that he would reserve the right to prosecute the rumor mongers. National Taiwan University Hospital said that the case was handled in accordance with the Gender Equality in Work Act, and the parties can file a lawsuit in accordance with the law. News highlights recently, some Taiwanese discarded their unwanted suitcases at the door of a supermarket in Shinsaibashi, Osaka, and posted a note of take free for people to collect for free. However, the personal information was not torn off from the suitcase, which caused criticism from netizens. Many people accuse this behavior of being irresponsible and disrespectful to the local environment, believing that discarding items without spending money to dispose of them is selfish. Netizens also pointed out that such behavior has embarrassed Taiwanese people, and reminded that if personal information is not handled well, it may bring legal trouble. News highlights Hong Kong's South China Morning Post reported that the Trump administration returned to office, and the top level of the U.S. Department of Defense no longer supported the argument of aiding Ukraine. Deputy Assistant Secretary Dahmer said that Taiwan is not a matter of life and death for the United States, and even if Taiwan is lost, Americans can still live in peace. He believes that aiding Ukraine weakens the U.S. Indo-Pacific defense, and should directly respond to the Chinese threat, emphasizing that Asian interests take precedence over Europe. Scholars warn that if the United States stops supporting Ukraine, it could send the wrong message to China. News highlights after TSMC's first factory in Kumamoto, Japan, was put into operation, it did not drive the expected economic growth, but instead broke out a wave of corporate bankruptcies in 2024. There were 80 bankrupt companies in Kumamoto Prefecture, a 12-year high, and nearly half of them were long-established companies that had been in business for more than 20 years. Experts believe that the aftermath of the epidemic, labor shortages, and rising prices have made it difficult for small and medium-sized enterprises to operate, and the number of bankruptcies may continue to increase in the future. News highlights Kazuya Mizuhara, a former translator for the Dodgers of Major League Baseball, faces $16.97 million in damages and 4 years and 9 months in prison for embezzling Shohei Ohtani's funds for fraud, and will be sentenced on February 6. Audio evidence showed that Suwon had transferred $200,000 impersonating Ohtani, claiming to be using it to pay off a car loan. News highlights the Central Weather Service predicts that the northeast monsoon will strengthen today, northern Taiwan will be wet and cool, and the low temperature will be 13–18 degrees in the early morning at night. The cold snap went south on Sunday night, and it turned cold in various places, and the temperature dropped to 8 degrees in the north in the early morning from the 27th to the 29th, 10–12 degrees in the central and southern regions, and 12–14 degrees in the east of Huadong. News highlights artist Lin Yeting's 85-year-old father Lin Zhang disappeared on January 16 and has not been found so far. She pointed out that her father was last seen at the Sungay Nature Center in Jilin District and posted a surveillance footage, but there were many suspicions. Lin's father is 168 centimeters tall, and when he disappeared, he was wearing a blue polo shirt and purple flowery pajama pants. News highlights Legislative President Han Kuo-yu led a bipartisan delegation to the United States to congratulate Trump on his inauguration, and after a tight trip, he returned to Taiwan this morning and only gave a brief greeting to the media, "Thank you, and Happy New Year." Vice President Zhang Qichen thanked the delegation for promoting Taiwan's friendship and looked forward to deepening bilateral cooperation. The delegation shared the results of exchanges with U.S. dignitaries and think tanks, emphasizing that the harvest is rich and conducive to Taiwan's international participation and future development. News highlights the militia launched the February 1 general recall action to jointly sign against the Kuomintang legislator and the president of the Legislative Yuan, Han Kuo-yu. Media personality Wu Zijie believes that the probability of success of the recall is extremely low, because K. Jianming's manipulation of the issue into a movement has weakened the effectiveness. Su Kyoxin of the Kuomintang pointed out that the poll showed that more than 70% of the people did not support the recall, and the relevant discussions have increased the popularity and support of some legislators. Overall, the likelihood of a successful recall is limited. News highlights Wang Wangyu, chairman of the Power of the Times, criticized the KMT's Lin Siming for only having the party's will and interests in mind, questioned that his proposal did not conform to the interests of the people, and cited a number of his controversial records. Lin responded to the accusations as malicious rumor-mongering and criticized Wang Wangyu's double standards. Wang Wanyu fought back again, emphasizing that her proposal had a research basis, and the results of questioning and amending the law were far better than Lin Siming's, and called on the people of Hsinchu to launch a recall action. News highlights Kuomintang legislator Chen Yuzhen proposed to delete the 2.3 billion public television budget, which angered the film and television industry and choked on famous directors Yang Lizhu, Wang Xiaodai, and others. She criticized the film and television industry as throwing away the bowl that asks for a job and overreacting. Subsequently, Chen Yuzhen changed to reduce the budget by 23 million and freeze 25%, but the rhetoric was still fierce. On the 23rd, She said in an interview with the Straight Herald that Chinese culture has a long history and expressed her emotion, but this move caused netizens to be angry, accusing her of double standards, calling her asking for food, and questioning why she sought support from China. News highlights YouTuber Beijing's China United Front documentary revealed that about 200,000 people had Chinese ID cards, and pointed out that China has a base in Taiwan to assist in the application. In this regard, Liang Wenjie, vice chairman of the Mainland Affairs Council, said that Li Dongxian and Su Xian's Taiwan status had been revoked. After Li Dongxian learned about it, he posted on Douyin, scolding the news of Taiwan, but he revealed his gaffe, causing netizens to be sarcastic, calling I was attacked by my own magic. Li Dongxian once held the 5-star flag at the Asia-Pacific Middle Age Games and proudly said that he was very proud to be Chinese. News highlights the famous Zhu Suihang forcibly hugged and kissed Kuomintang Taipei City Councillor Zhong Peijun in 2022, and was later sued by Zhong Peijun for sexual harassment. On November 14 last year, the High Court convicted Chu of forcible indecent assault and sentenced him to a sentence of 11 months. Originally scheduled to be imprisoned on February 4, Zhu Suihang voluntarily appeared at the Beijing Inspection Center on January 24 to report for duty, and was subsequently handcuffed and sent to prison, where he will spend the Lunar New Year in prison. Zhong Peijun once recalled the incident and revealed that Zhu Suihang had apologized afterwards. News highlights recently, there have been frequent incidents of random slashing in Japan. A man in Gifu Prefecture was stabbed by an unknown man on the street today, 24th, and his abdomen was bleeding profusely, but fortunately he was conscious when he was sent to the hospital. The police said that the man who committed the attack was about 165 centimeters tall, wearing black clothes and a white mask, and had fled the scene and was being investigated by the police. In addition, on the night of the 22nd, a random slashing incident also occurred near JR Nagano Station, and one man unfortunately died and 2 others were injured. Police have launched an investigation. News highlights Taiwanese media person Liu Beijia has hosted Critical Moment for more than 18 years, and it was recently reported that he resigned from the show and quit the group, shocking the audience. Rumors pointed out that the reason for Liu Beijia's resignation may be because of the loss of ratings to Li Zhenghao. In response, long-term program guest Huang Shikeng posted a response on Facebook, revealing that Liu Beijia is very in control of the overall situation on the show, and has offended many friends because of his pursuit of ratings. Huang Shikeng believes that Liu Beijia will not be in a bad mood because of losing to Li Zhenghao in the ratings, and said that Liu Beijia needs to rest, but may return to the media circle in the future. News highlights Wang Yedong, a well-known singer and host, was diagnosed with small cell lung cancer in December 2021, and although he actively treated and held concerts to inspire others, his condition deteriorated rapidly, and he passed away on January 15 after 3 years of fighting cancer. In her obituary, his wife confirmed Wang Yedong's death and said that he was a solid support for his family and brought her countless warm memories. The farewell ceremony was held on the 18th, and a large number of relatives and friends came to mourn. What is particularly sad is that Wang Yedong has a deep relationship with his grandparents, and his 91-year-old grandfather also came to bid him farewell, and the scene was very touching. News highlights Justin Jr. has been married to Haley for many years and has a son. However, recently, little Justin cancelled tracking his wife due to Instagram, and there was news of a marriage change. He then clarified that his account had been compromised and shared sweet photos with Haley, confirming that the relationship had not changed. In addition, because of the recent upload of smoking nude photos, fans were dissatisfied, criticizing him for giving his son a bad example and calling for changing bad habits. News highlights Japanese actor Masahiro Nakai was involved in a sex scandal and exposed the existence of a sexual tributary culture on Fuji TV. The report pointed out that Fuji TV arranged for female anchors to attend gatherings with high-level executives and artists, and listed these activities as official business. Female anchor X revealed that she was invited by the producer to a party in Nakajo and was assaulted on the night of the incident. The investigation revealed that Fuji TV president Koichi Minato had promoted these activities since 2013 as part of his work, resulting in a massive withdrawal of the company's advertising. News highlights in the year of the Golden Dragon, Taiwan stocks closed in the red, with the broader market rising 225.4 points, the largest increase in nearly 10 years, and Taiwan stocks rising from 18,096.07 points to 23,525.41 points, an increase of 30%. In anticipation of the expected red envelope market after the Lunar New Year, site recommends that investors pay attention to Taiwan stock funds or ETFs. CUNY Investment Trust pointed out that the profit growth of the electronics industry is optimistic, the impact of AI continues to expand, and Taiwan's semiconductor-related concept stocks are the most beneficial. In the medium and long term, we are optimistic about the fundamentals of Taiwan stocks, and it is recommended to buy on DIPs. A high-dividend ETF can also be used as an investment option with stable income. News highlights CITIC Housing announced its self-settlement transaction volume in January, showing that the transaction volume in Taiwan decreased by 10.3% month-on-month and 22.7% year-on-year. Among the 6 cities, Taipei City and Kaohsiung City performed more prominently, with monthly growth of 2.4% and 8%, respectively, while other cities such as New Taipei City and Tainan City showed declines. Zhang Shaizong, general manager, said that due to the Lunar New Year and the New Year, some people chose to postpone their home purchase plans, which affected the transaction volume in January. With the withdrawal of investors and the return of the market to basic demand, it is expected that the egg yolk area will remain hot, especially the number of small pings and the objects of self-occupation demand are still popular choices. News highlights Li Chaoqing, the former mayor of Nantou County, was sentenced to April 656 in prison for taking kickbacks from post-disaster reconstruction projects, guilty of 98 crimes of corruption. Li Chaoqing said that he was a first-time offender, had repented and practiced Buddhism, and was in poor health, and pleaded to have his sentence reduced to June 17. The Taichung High Court ruled that it should be executed in February 21, and the Supreme Court rejected the protest to confirm. Li's offenses involved 111 public works projects worth more than $10 million, and all proceeds of crime have been recovered. News highlights Li Yuemei, the chief of office of Kuomintang legislator Wang Xiaoling, was accused by multiple women of secretly filming them outside the Legislative Yuan, and Wang Xiaoling later posted a Facebook post accusing the director of being besieged and sued. The party, Ms. L, and 6 other people, issued a statement, demanding that the CCTV footage be released to clarify the incident, and solemnly refuted Wang Xiaoling's statement, emphasizing that there was no encirclement or maliciously targeting Li Yuma, and accused Wang Xiaoling's remarks of distorting the facts, demanding an apology and stopping spreading false remarks. News highlights 28-year-old Ashan was invited to work in Thailand, but was deceived into a fraud park in Myanmar and forced to engage in fraudulent activities. He described the park's repressive management, violence, and daily scam training, noting the syndicate's preference for recruiting Taiwanese and Hong Kongers. Eventually, Ashan was released after his father paid a ransom, and called on Taiwanese to be wary of job lures in Southeast Asia to avoid being kidnapped and sent to a scam park. News highlights: an 11-year-old boy in Taichung City was hit by a white sedan when he tried to help his mother carry bread when he crossed the road in Taiping District yesterday afternoon and was knocked over on the spot. Luckily, the boy suffered only minor bruising on his head and buttocks and quickly got up and ran back to his mother. The car accident occurred on the reticulated section of the road. The owner of the car did not react to alcohol, and the police said that the boy crossed the road illegally and would fine his legal representative 500 yuan in accordance with the law. News highlights: U.S. President Donald Trump has asked officials to come up with a plan within 15 days to declassify documents on the assassinations of John F. Kennedy and his brother Rob Kennedy, saying everything will be made public. The JFK brothers and Martin Luther King Jr. assassinations have long sparked conspiracy theories, and Trump has stressed that declassification is in the public interest. While some documents have been declassified in the past, thousands remain unpublished. Trump had intended to declassify during his first term, but was dissuaded by CIA and FBI officials and decided to continue the secret. News highlights: since 108, Lu Nu and her ex-husband Lin Nan and Jiaxi have used the Shopee shopping platform to engage in underground exchange business with unknown people in the mainland, and hired Hong Nan to assist, with a total exchange amount of 1 billion yuan and illegal profits of more than 18 million yuan. The trio used Shopee's website to publish exchange services to evade investigation and transfer money to accounts such as Alipay in mainland China. Prosecutors charged the three with violating banking laws and pointed out that Lu Nu had been prosecuted for the same crime and had not repented, and demanded a heavier sentence. News highlights: TSMC's first plant in Kumamoto Prefecture, Japan, started mass production in December last year, which is expected to boost the local economy. However, recent data shows that Kumamoto Prefecture has seen a wave of bankruptcies, with the highest number of bankruptcies in 12 years last year at 80, nearly half of which are long-established companies that have been in business for more than 20 years. Despite the reduction in total liabilities, insolvencies of small and medium-sized enterprises have worsened, and long-running businesses face greater challenges. The analysis pointed out that the impact of the epidemic and local labor shortages and other issues may exacerbate the wave of bankruptcies. News highlights: at about 3 o'clock in the morning today, a slashing case occurred in Bangkiao, New Taipei, where the suspect surnamed Hu was dissatisfied with his girlfriend's breakup and married a new love, and sent a message to the woman to criticize her current boyfriend, but was unexpectedly seen by the current boyfriend, a man surnamed Fang. The two sides agreed to clash during the negotiations, and the suspect surnamed Hu led people to attack the man surnamed Fang with a stick-shaped tool, slashed him and fled. The incident took place only 200 meters from the police station, and the police quickly dispatched and arrested the suspect. Preliminary investigation revealed that the case stemmed from a triangular emotional dispute. News highlights: People's Party legislator Wu Chuncheng has pushed for legislation for the strong generation, but recently DPP legislators have questioned that his legislative intentions may be for his own interests. The question pointed out that during the budget review, some ministries and associations were cut out of the budget because they did not use the term strong generation, and pointed out that the Strong Generation Association founded by Wu Chuncheng and his family company participated in the government bidding and was suspected of profiteering. Wu Chuncheng refuted the accusations, emphasizing that he had not participated in any political bidding and had not received trademark royalties. The incident aroused concern, and DPP legislators demanded that Wu Chuncheng explain his motives. News highlights: a strange car accident occurred in Yufeng District, Taichung City, where a 24-year-old man surnamed Zhang and a 26-year-old woman surnamed Hong collided with their vehicle, and Zhang Nan unfortunately died. When Zhang Nan was driving a Mazda on Mufa Road, he collided with a Tesla driven by Hong Nu. Although the speed was only 20 to 30 kilometers, Zhang Nan's front wheel burst and emitted white smoke, and finally died after being sent to the hospital. The police found a hole in the windshield of Zhang Nan's passenger seat, and the cause of the accident could not be explained, and they are still investigating the bizarre situation. News highlights: the Ministry of Finance and the Legislative Yuan in response to this year's budget controversy broke out. The Ministry of Finance said that the uniform invoice bonus budget was cut, which will reduce the chance of winning the lottery, but the verification shows that even if it is reduced by 1.85 billion, because the commission fee is 3.5 billion more than last year, there are more chances to win. Kuomintang legislator Wang Hongwei questioned the Ministry of Finance's exaggeration, and pointed out that the statutory budget for the Uniform Invoice Award medal should not be cut. The results of the audit showed that the GUI budget could still be reduced in accordance with the regulations, and it was not completely impossible to adjust. News highlights: Xiao S. Su Ziti revealed on the show that although he was an iron-toothed person who did not believe in gods and Buddhas, he had encountered something that could not be explained by science. Her eldest daughter, Ellie, suddenly took off her clothes when she was a child, ran while crying, and had a persistent fever. At that time, SS mother found a mage and was told that Ellie had 7 ghosts wrapped around her. After the mage's actions, Ellie's condition quickly improved, which made Xiao S start to have doubts about this matter, and completely changed her opinion. News highlights: Amazon announced that it would close 7 warehouses in Quebec and lay off 1,700 employees, stressing that the move had nothing to do with local unionization, citing an effort to improve operational efficiency. Last year, Amazon's warehouses in Canada formed its first union to protect workers from different regions. The union pointed out that Amazon's closure of warehouses violated labor laws and considered it a counteraction against the union. News highlights: a primary 3 boy was looking forward to the outdoor outing of the parenting class, so he misremembered the date and came to the parenting class one day earlier to wait. As the parents did not confirm the itinerary, the boy waited for 3 hours at the door of the parenting class until the pharmacy staff across the street found him crying and called the police to deal with it. After the police found out, they found that the boy and his parents mistakenly thought that there was an outing that day, and the boy was finally sent home by the police. News highlights: CITIC Brothers announced today, 24, that it has signed a 10-year contract with Jong Kunyu with a total value of more than 140 million yuan, becoming the youngest player in the history of the secondary professional team with a monthly salary of more than 1 million, and the first player to sign a 10-year guaranteed contract. Jong Kunyu's monthly salary has increased from 540,000 to 660,000 this year, and his monthly salary will increase to 1.2 million from the 5th year, and has the opportunity to rise to 1.5 million in the next 3 years. Since 2020, he has been performing consistently, winning the Golden Glove 5 consecutive championships and the Best 10 4 consecutive championships, and helping the Chinese team win the top 12 championships. News highlights: a 70-year-old man died of suspected loneliness in Yancheng District, Kaohsiung City. The police received a report from the lieutenant and found that Abe had been missing for 4 days, and found the man's body after breaking down the door and entering the house. After a preliminary investigation, there were no signs of invasion or fighting by external forces, and no property was lost. Abe had a heart stent before his death, and after the prosecutor examined it, the family will handle the funeral. News highlights: Shen Yat, a well-known female singer in the mainland, died suddenly in the early morning of the 21st at the age of 40. She was famous for her moving voice during her lifetime, and she appeared on the CCTV stage many times, showing her talent since she was a child. Shen Yat wrote a farewell message in the circle of friends, comforting relatives and friends, saying that leaving is not goodbye, forgetting is, and thanked everyone for the fate. She has written her obituary and detailed the arrangements for the farewell ceremony, much to the dismay of fans, relatives, and friends.